I am going to record this, but it will just videotape me. It won't record anyone else. If you want to keep your video on, you're more than welcome to. If you want to shut your video off, then that's fine. Finding child's pose, bringing our knees towards the edges of our mat, sinking our chest in between our legs and walk out your hands. If the floor feels far away, you can use your pillow, your blanket, or your pillow to rest your head. You may also use your block. With your forehead on the mat, I want you to begin to close your eyes. If at any point in practice you feel like you need a break, this pose is here for you. You can move into child's pose whenever you need. And for the next 45 minutes or so, I want you to think of me as your guide. I will give you options in different poses. And our goal here is to go about 75% to restore our bodies. So if at any point you feel your edge in a pose, I want you to lean away from that, lean off. With your head on its surface, begin to rock your forehead side to side, releasing any tension from your forehead. If your jaw is clenched, I want you to release that grip. And we'll float up into our tabletop. In tabletop, wrists are underneath shoulders and knees are underneath hips. Your gaze is at the top edge of your mat. We're going to begin to connect to our breath, breaking down cat and cow. Inhale. On an exhale, begin to bring your shoulders up towards the ceiling. Your gaze in between your legs. On your next inhale, find a flat back. Exhale, lift into cat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, lift. Inhale, flat back. Moving at your own pace here for a few rounds of breath. Not finding cow yet. Re-engaging in your tabletop. We'll start to find the second half of cat and cow. On your inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze directly in front of you. And on an exhale, come to a straight back. Inhale, cow. Exhale, straight back. Continuing this practice at your own pace. And we'll begin to connect those two pieces. Inhaling, moving into cow. Exhaling, moving into cat. waking up our spines. And begin to find stillness here. We're going to sink our hips towards our heels. And we'll bring our arms by our side. A focus of our class today is drawing our shoulders away from us and down, so down and back. A lot of times, especially if we're sitting down and doing office work, our shoulders are rolling, and what that does is really makes a tight chest and it stretches out our back. So we're trying to re-engage here. Inhale, we're going to clasp our hands behind us, assisting that stretch more. Your gaze can be directly in front of you. Eventually, your gaze can begin to lift to the point where the ceiling meets the wall. Release your bind. Bring your knees up to the edges of your mat and sink again into child's pose. We want to connect to our Ujjayi breath here. Inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And with your eyes closed, I want you to create an intention for class. When you are ready, you can float yourself up into our first downward facing dog. Your hands are on the outside edges of your shoulders, and your knees are on the outside edges of your hips. Knees can be generously bent here. We'll begin engaging more deeply in our downward dog, coming onto your tippy toes, lifting your hips, dropping your heels, but keeping your hips lifted, pushing yourself out of your wrists by pushing your chest closer towards your thighs. You can have a generous bend in your knees this morning. Allowing your head to just hang there, release any tension. We'll plant our left foot. Inhale your right toes up towards the sky. On an exhale, bring your right knee towards your right elbow and your right ankle towards your left wrist. Dropping your front leg, we'll drop our back knee and our back, point our toes. Finding half pigeon. We have two options here. Your first option can be an active half pigeon, bringing your hands by your hips, bringing your gaze directly in front of you. Your second option can be to walk out your arms. Forearms come to the mat, and you release any tension in your neck and head. If you are holding that active pigeon, I want you to walk out your arms and begin to release in the pose, bringing your forearms to the mat, releasing your head. Wonderful job, everyone. We'll bring our hands underneath our shoulders, bringing our chest off the mat. Re-engage your back leg by curling your toes. Lift your knee. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Planting our right toes, we'll inhale our left toes up towards the sky. On an exhale, bring your left knee towards your left elbow and your left ankle towards your right wrist, dropping your front leg, dropping your back knee and pointing your back toes. Once again, our two options, active pigeon. Fingers can be tented, gaze is forward, or a more restful position, forearms to the mat, releasing your head. If you are in that more active pigeon pose, I want you to begin to find yourself in a more restful pose or version of pigeon. Bringing our wrists underneath our shoulders, lifting our chest off the mat. We'll re-engage our back leg by curling your toes and lifting your knee. Inhale, moving into downward facing dog. You can begin to walk out your legs in this downward facing dog. Begin to find stillness, re-engaging, pushing out of your wrist, your chest towards your thighs, your hips lifted. Your heels do not need to be on the mat, and your knees can be bent. Begin to bend your knees here more. Bring your gaze in between your hands, and we'll walk our toes towards our wrists, finding forward fold. Think about completely releasing here. Your feet are hips width apart. Your gaze is in between your legs and your arms are hanging loose. Just like in downward facing dog, you can have a bend to your knees as much as you would like. We're going to work on a simple pose today that often is rushed in a lot of flows. And it's when we go into forward fold and then straighten our back. So we'll begin by bringing our hands towards our shins. Shift your gaze from in between your legs to the top edge of your mat and straighten your back, engaging all aspects of your spine here. Continue to inhale and exhale through your nose. And on your next exhale, bring your arms back to the ground and feel that release and forward fold. Planting your hands by your feet, we'll step our right foot back, bringing our right knee to the ground and our toes are pointed at the back wall. Inhale your arms up towards the sky, low lunge. Palms are facing each other, pinkies are slightly turned in. If this feels like too much pressure on your back knee, then you can grab your blanket and place that under your knee. Inhale, exhale. Clasping our hands behind our back, we're going to re-engage, drawing our shoulders back, lifting our chest. Your gaze is at the point where the ceiling meets the wall. Exhale, release your arms here, frame your front foot. Re-engage your back leg and step into forward fold. You bring opposite hand to opposite elbow, finding a rag doll. Perhaps closing your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Releasing your grip here, gently opening your eyes. We'll bring our hands back towards our shins, shift our gaze to the top edge of our mat, and straighten our back. Inhale, exhale, release, forward fold. Planting our hands by our feet, we'll step our left foot back, dropping our back knee and pointing our back toes. Inhale your arms up, low lunge. Inhale, exhale, clasping your hands behind your back. We're going to re-engage here. If this clasp feels too much in your body, then you can just bring your arms behind your body. Shoulders are rolled back and down. Our heart is open. Your gaze is at the point where your wall meets the ceiling. Inhale, exhale, release your hold. We'll frame our front foot, re-engage our back leg, step into forward fold. On your next inhale, come into that straight back. Hands come to shins, your back flattens out. Beautiful, everyone. Inhale, exhale, release. Forward fold. We're going to engage our abs here to roll us up into a standing position. Think about tucking your abs in as if they could go all the way to your spine, gently rolling you up slowly into a standing position. What we're going to do is we're going to use all that prep work with our shoulders to create a strong mountain pose. And to first do that, we need to build our trunk. So I want you to look at your feet, and I want your feet to be about hips width distance apart. You can have a small micro bend in your knees. And still looking at our feet, we're going to lift our toes on an inhale. Lift them. And on your exhale, push your toes into the ground. Feeling the four corners of your feet stabilize you. And then we'll go into straightening or strengthening our legs. And then we'll move on to our upper body. Rolling our shoulders down and back. It's just slightly lifting your chest. Bringing your gaze directly in front of you. Your palms are open to the front wall. Feeling how strong you are in this pose. How you've created a mountain. And if someone came over and tried to just gently push you, you wouldn't move. It's how engaged we are. Keeping the engagement of your body, we'll inhale our arms up towards the sky, creating extended mountain pose. First, checking in with our shoulders. We want our shoulders to be resting, so we don't want them hiked up by our ears. So maybe looking at them, feeling the difference between the two poses. Our palms are facing one another and our pinkies are slightly turned in. Inhale. Exhale. We'll drop our right hand towards our right body. The palm comes towards the thigh. Bringing our left fingers to the right side and finding a side bend here. We're still strong, we're not collapsed. Inhale, bringing your right arm up to meet your left arm. Exhale, bringing your left palm towards your left thigh, finding that side body stretch on the opposite side. Inhale, coming back into our extended mountain pose. Palms are going to face the side walls, and we're going to dive into forward fold. Begin to bend your knees more generously here, bringing your hands onto the mat, and we'll begin to find a seat. The soles of your feet are on the mat. Reclining our back so it's flat with the mat. Finding the beginning pose for bridge. If you have a block, I want you to bring that with you and to keep it at the middle of your mat. If you don't have a block, you can use a book, you can use your pillow or a blanket. There's lots of options. Our ankles are underneath our knees. And we're going to use that block or whatever prop that we have and gently place it underneath our hips, allowing us to have a supported bridge here. Your arms are by your side and your palms are facing down on the mat. Begin to lift your hips just a bit higher off your prop, sliding your prop to one of the edges of your mat, and then bringing your hips down to the mat. We'll straighten out our legs here. Inhale your arms over your head and welcome a full body stretch into our bodies. Bring your arms by your side. Hug in your right knee. Can welcome some ankle circles here. Step your left foot onto the mat, as if you're recreating that bridge just on one side. And we'll cross our right ankle over our left thigh. Finding figure 4. And you have a few options. You can stay here, or you can bring your hands behind your left thigh, gently bringing both of your knees closer to your mat. If your left foot is lifted, I want you to release the grip on your left thigh and bring that foot to the ground. You can bring your right foot to the ground here and windshield wipe your legs. Stretching your legs again, inhaling your arms over your body, re-engaging that full body stretch. And then bringing your arms by your side and beginning to set up for the opposite side. Inhale your left knee close to your chest, hug your knee in. And create circles with your foot here. If you're creating circles, I want you to move in the opposite direction at this point. We'll step our right foot in, so the sole of our foot is on the mat. Crossing your left ankle over your right thigh, finding figure 4. You can stay like this if this feels good in your body. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can bring your hands behind your right thigh, bringing both knees closer to your chest. We'll begin to release the grip on our right thigh, bringing both feet towards the mat. And rather than doing a windshield wipe, we're just going to drop our knees towards the left. You can bring one of your hands to your heart and the other towards your belly. Your gaze can shift towards the right. On an inhale, you can bring your knees through center and your gaze, dropping your knees towards the right, and then shifting your gaze towards the left. Both of your shoulders are gently on the mat. Bring your knees and your gaze back to the center. Bring our arms by our sides. For our last active stretch here, we're just going to bring our legs up as straight as they can go. Your back is flat on the mat. It's just like you're draining your legs for a moment here. If there's a shake, let there be a shake. You can bend your knees here. They don't need to be completely straight. And when you feel ready, I want you to begin to drop your legs, finding yourself laying down on your mat, arms by your side. And you can flip your palms so they're facing up towards the sky. Begin to feel grounded through your mat and close your eyes. Come back to your intention that you set at the beginning of class. Begin to tune into your breathing, taking breaths in and out of your nose. If your mind wanders, simply go back to your breath. What are you grateful for? In this pose, in your stillness, I want you to think of 3 things that you are grateful for. And as you inhale, send extra gratitude to those 3 things. You can begin to add small movements to your toes and your fingertips. Continue to keep your eyes closed. Allow those movements to travel up your legs and your arms, to your chest, to your hips, meeting at your core. And eventually, if those movements are strong enough, you can roll onto your favorite side with your eyes closed, bringing your knees to your chest, giving your body a hug. Knowing that you did a wonderful practice today. You can gently lift yourself into any seated position that feels comfortable for you. If you want to gently open your eyes, you can begin to do so. We'll just take a breath together, inhaling our arms up towards the sky. Exhaling, bringing our hands into prayer, pausing at our third eye, the space between our brows. Pausing at our chin, our mouth. And then bringing our thumbs towards your heart. I wish you all a great Wednesday. Namaste.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thanks, Lydia.